Hi, my name is Wolf Hessler. I'm a retired engineer and I have recently moved into a new house and I've equipped a small metalworking workshop in the basement of my house. Before we go downstairs, and I'll show you around and we'll go over the basic equipment that you all need to do this, I'd like to set up a couple of little introductory comments. To enjoy any hobby, you have to pursue it with a bit of determination and time and money, but it's not excessive, and the idea is to keep the cost down and keep the reward up. I've helping me with the videos my grandson Ewan, and a few other rules that I've set for myself really is they have to do with safety and organization and neatness. If we want to take pride in what we do, we've got to be able to have a pleasant surroundings. We need to keep it organized. We need to stay safe, and we're going to need a few rules. One of them is put tools away. Every minute we spend putting things away, we'll save 5 minutes looking for them afterwards. That's one rule I have. Accidents, the factor's even bigger. If we can avoid accidents, we can make this a lot more pleasant, safe, and enjoyable. Also, before we go downstairs, I want to explain the fact that at this point I'm doing this entirely at my own expense. We're not promoting any particular brand or manufacturer, although you will see manufacturers' names on the equipment, but that's just incidental. We're not promoting any particular make of equipment. There's no other motive than to provide information for people that are interested in a metalworking hobby. Also, if you enjoy this and like to see this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit the notification, the bell, and subscribe for future videos. We plan to have certain projects that we're going to do, simple things, based on the kind of skills that we expect our audience to have and to develop. We'll go over that, and we'll keep it nice and simple, pleasant, and enjoyable. So let's see you downstairs. We're downstairs now in the shop. Let's first talk about the space that I partitioned off here from the rest of the basement. It's about an area here, this portion is about 12 feet by 16 feet, and then it goes another 8 feet or so, and it's about 4 or 5 feet wide here. There's some storage shelves I put in there, and also we have this drawer type desk, work desk, that was made by my son-in-law. And when I mentioned what I wanted in the way of drawers and the size and so on, I mentioned that I could make my own drawer pulls. So, not thinking that they would actually take me up on it, but it turned out they delivered it, installed it without drawer pulls. So I haven't made these myself with material that I had. This is just 1/2 inch polished aluminum rod. And you'll see they're not all exactly the same because I scrounged whatever material I had. This one here, this little gold bar, that's a rug rod. It's a little more solid than a curtain rod. And that was just materials that I could buy on scale. This was actually from a snare rod bought at a hardware store for $1.99, and the rod is about almost 4 feet long, and I got 4 of them. At $1.99 you can't go wrong. If you had to go to a metal distributor, that would cost me easily over $50. So it doesn't all have to cost money. I also keep in good relationships with machine shops in the area, and I managed to get scraps. Take a shot over here, Ewan. There's some mild steel and aluminum bronze materials to make parts with. So we have the work desk with the drawers. I have also another movable on casters work bench bought at Canadian Tire, also with drawers. But one thing, it's on casters so that I can move it, which is a good thing. I can actually move it right out here. But when you're cutting or filing, working on the vise, you get always some movement. You're familiar with it. So I made some proper adjustable feet on this end only, where the swivel casters are. The other casters are not swivel, and they're fine. So I have one here, and also because there's a 5-inch sewer pipe running along the wall, I had to stay 5 inches away from the wall. So I added a piece. Actually, I added about 6 feet, make a little bit wider workbench, and also gives me the opportunity to bring the other foot further out so that I have more stability when I'm working on the bench. So that turned out to be very handy, the fact that that pipe was there. And besides, it also covered it up. That actually forced the layout, because it comes right around here before it goes to the outside. So that means my lathe has to be also 6 inches from the wall, which is fine, that's what I wanted. And I can also move it away when I have to get behind there when I'm working on it, similar with the milling machine. So here we have a little 12 by 28 lathe. It's about $3,400. Turned out to be really quite a practical, serious lathe. Quite a departure from the little mini lathes that you can buy now for under $1,000. I started off with that, but that's another story. So I've used this already now for the last 2 or 3 months, and it's exceeded my expectations. Although it does require some work. For one thing, we had to take it apart to get it down here because it weighs about 500 pounds, and put it back together again. Then when we had it running, but then some an electronic problem showed up, which was resolved fairly quickly. And I haven't really spent a lot of time in actually checking it out for squareness and accuracy, because I've been very satisfied with the work that I've done on it already. Now, I did do one thing in the last 4 weeks to get a little more torque out of the machine, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But that's why this special cover here. One thing that you need in a shop is you need to have good lighting. You need to be able to see, especially when you get my age. So I installed this little desk lamp. I have 2 of them, one over the workbench. And I can swivel this around to also light up the milling area here. Here we have a little milling machine. Also weighs about 500 pounds. We also had to take it apart. It's been working fine, doing a good job. You have to be somewhat familiar with the machines to make them work and do what you want them to do. But it's not difficult. And the machines were quite easy to work with, relatively easy to work with. And it cost about $2,600, I believe it was. And then to cut things off and cut shapes, I have a little bandsaw. This is probably more used for woodworking, but with a metal cutting blade you can cut also metal, aluminum, bronze, steel. You definitely need a means to cut things. I also use it to cut material to length, or I'll bring it into length already cut. I don't have a hacksaw. I don't do any grinding here, and I don't do any welding here. We're doing only machining. This one was under $1,000. In the corner here we have a radial arm drill press. It's got, I think it's got 9 different speeds, because there's a center puller in the middle to change it's quite extensive. It takes about 30 minutes to change the speeds. But this is a very low cost Princess Auto special, good capacity, lots of adjustments, and if I want to use the full capacity of the throat, I've got to move the bench out from the wall, which is fine because it's on casters, so I can do that. Roughly, the equipment in here is a little under $10,000, and then you need to buy some tooling as you go along, and I buy it as I need it. And also, sometimes you get lucky. I got to know a local machine shop quite well. Maybe we'll do an episode there. He lent me, or actually gave me, a couple of, I needed some more micrometers for different, these are old ones that they didn't use, replaced with newer ones, so I got that actually for free. And a few other items, but these are all fairly low cost. There's nothing expensive in there at all. What you see in this drawer might cost maybe $300-400. In the future, we're going to go into a little more detail. Some of the projects I actually did, how I go about doing it, do a little bit of planning, make some sketches. The emphasis will be on that I show you how I do this, and show you that you can do this too, if you have the interest and the discipline to carry it through. We'll try to have some action every episode to show how the actual machine's working, and we'll show some finished items.
And I'll add something. This is basically an intro to the shop, so everything that we have here is what you need to do what we're doing in our videos to get started.
We can do most machining jobs. If there's larger pieces with a lot of metal removal, I go outside and get it done. I don't do any welding here. I don't do any grinding. I have a small tool grinder in the garage to keep things tidy and clean down here. Don't forget, we're in a residential house. We don't want to carry any dirt and chips upstairs. I have a wife to keep happy too. I always change my shoes before I go upstairs. Clean up every time. That makes one thing about cleaning, if I spend 15 minutes cleaning up the shop, the first 10 minutes there's not much enjoyment in it. It gets more fun as you get to the end and things start to clean up and start to look nice and shiny. And I believe in keeping it that way. And I think everybody gets more enjoyment out of it. So, see you next episode.